Doreen Grand-Pichet is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen.
Yasmin has written in a question that does not have to do with someone that's on the spectrum, but I think it's an important question.
It is.
She says,
love to answer it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello. How can I help my 20-year-old son who wanted to attempt suicide last week? He's coming out of the mental hospital in a few days. Now I don't know how to treat him. He's not on the spectrum.
Yeah.
First hugs, right?
Big hug, Yasmin. She actually later on, Shannon wrote in and said his younger brother is on the spectrum. So big hugs, Yasmin. And this is super important. In fact, I saw your question when it first came up and I wanted to jump to it right away because I want you to listen and do exactly these things. It's very, very important. So the first thing is he currently, if he's been in a hospital, he's currently under the care of a psychiatrist and a psychologist. Those two things have to be present for him in a hospital. The psychiatrist may have put him on medication. If they have not, you need to get a psychiatrist immediately and get him on medication. The medication that he would be taking would be most likely a SSRI or SNRI. These are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, like Prozac or Zoloft or these, or SNRI, which controls both serotonin and norepinephrine, and that's things like Cymbalta, etc. But these medications are harmless, and they take about 3 weeks to take full effect. So I'm hopeful that while he was in the hospital, they started putting him on one of these. But if they haven't, get that going right away, because that in itself will, in a very subtle way, take away kind of the things that might be causing him depression. Okay. And I'm assuming there's some level of depression when one says one wants to commit suicide, right? Because usually suicide is a result of either depression or comes after depression or trauma. And if it's trauma, usually the person doesn't talk about wanting to commit suicide. It sounds like in this case, your child had told you or had told someone. So it's very, very important to get him on the right medication. Now, secondly, it's very, very important to get a psychologist for him. These are two different things. Psychiatrist will manage his medication. Psychiatrists can also do therapy, but I recommend that you get a psychologist as well as a psychiatrist, because then you have two professionals. One is managing his medication. The other one is just doing talk therapy, sitting with him every week, several times a week. Nowadays, a lot of that is done on Zoom, so it's possible for him to do it from home every single day. When someone comes out of a hospital for something like talking about suicide, they can have therapy 5 days a week, 7 days a week if they need it. They have an hour with someone where they're talking about all the things that's causing them stress, depression, anxiety, whatever it might be. By the way, those medications that I mentioned also control anxiety, not just depression. So they're very, very good. And so once you have a psychiatrist and a psychologist, the last thing I would do is I would probably place cameras all over the house just for safety. This is just a scary thing that we go through with our kids sometimes. And I've actually gone through this with a friend of mine, and he put cameras all over his house. And let me tell you, it was incredibly important. In that case, the child was cutting and doing all sorts of other things. And the camera allowed him to have a sense of safety, I guess, or worry less about the individual and if they could be harming themselves. This is very important. The other thing is, in terms of how you interact with him, you interact with him just the way you used to, like normally. You don't treat him like someone who is different just because he expressed how depressed he is. Like, all he did was say, I'm so depressed that I want to kill myself, right? So he made an expression of how he feels. So what I would suggest is you try to be there for him to talk to if he chooses to talk to you. If he doesn't, often a therapist will be the person that he can talk to. And by the way, both the psychologist and psychiatrist may request family sessions where not only would you all go in as a group so that your son has an opportunity to vent and tell you the things that are bothering him in a safe setting, but also so that you can learn some of these things. Like, your psychologist will be able to tell you exactly how to interact. They'll be able to tell you what subjects to talk about and what subjects to avoid because they're too sensitive for now. So these are really important things. And I really want you to please, as he's coming out of the hospital, get those professionals in place. This is not something that goes away like this. You need to have professionals helping you on an ongoing basis, maybe for a year, maybe longer, until he comes out of this phase.
Yeah, she went on to say that the social worker, they are giving him medication. He did say that he was depressed. The social worker from the hospital he's in now said he needs to go to outpatient therapy for 6 to 8 weeks. And that there are some considerations about mom and dad both working, and that it's going to be hard, and that she's scared coming home.
Yeah, it is hard and it is scary. And I don't like the idea of leaving him alone all day. And I understand that you both have to go to work. I wonder if there's a possibility that either one of you could talk with your employer and see if it's possible for you just for a month, or maybe you trade off to work from home.
Yeah.
Or if
Family
there-
Leave Act would say that you have the time. It's whether you can financially afford it.
Yeah.
But perhaps you have insurance for that. Some people do, not everyone.
Perhaps you can work from home. Perhaps, I don't know what state you're in, but states like California, for instance, regional centers will give you funding for respite so that either you or someone else is there. Maybe you can reach out to the family, see if there's, I don't know, a cousin, nephew, niece, someone who's there. It would be important not to have him on his own.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
We're sending
by the
those.
way, your insurance is probably going to try to cut the therapy to a minimum and say like, oh, 6 to 8 weeks. I think he needs, probably realistically, and you should push for this, maybe 2 to 3 times a week therapy for 6 months at least. So go for that and see if that helps.
Yeah, be a squeaky
Also,
wheel. Ask for everything.
the other thing I was going to suggest is, a lot of doctoral programs, like my daughter is in a doctoral program for psychology right now. I used to be, of course, at UCLA 100 years ago. And because they want the grad students, these are people who are going to be doctors in a year or so, or 2 years. They want the students to have experience. So those folks are free. And so if you can reach out maybe to some local universities and see if they have a program that gives therapy from grad students, that would be something good to do as well.
There you go. And she said, thank you, Dr. Doreen, and happy birthday. I also want to get to a message that came to us from the fabulous Ilana Gershlovitz. Ilana Gershlovitz. She said, excuse me, I know Ilana well, and I just messed up her name. Forgive me. She says, Dear Doreen, happy birthday from Johannesburg, South Africa. Your wisdom fills us with so much inspiration and admiration. You have positively impacted the lives of thousands of children affected by autism. This will always be your legacy. You are a hero. Wishing you many more beautiful beach sunsets and ocean breezes. Here's to a magical year filled with sparkling memories. Lots of love, the Gershlovitz family. What a beautiful message.
What a beautiful message from a beautiful person and a beautiful family. I am so blessed. Honestly, I look at like you, for instance, Shannon or Ilana. If it wasn't for autism, I would have never met you guys. And like, these are some of you and Ilana and Martin, her husband, and some of my favorite people in the whole world. So thank you, Alana. I love you.
Amazing. And Alana, clearly such a beautiful writer. And for those of you who don't know her book, Saving My Sons. Ooh, is it Saving Our Sons?
I think it's Saving My Sons.
I think it is too. Beautiful, beautiful book. What a beautiful writer she is. Check that out. Susie B says, happy birthday. And Renee and Elvira said, I wish I could give you a big hug, doctor.
Oh, thank you.
They also said, happy birthday, Dr. Doreen. Around 5 years ago, I found you thanks to Autism Live, and I learned so much from you. And thanks to you, me and my husband are better advocates for our 7-year-old boy. I love that. Johanny says, hi, ladies from Philly. Happy birthday, Dr. Doreen. Thank you for being a blessing to so many, especially me and mine. Sending you hugs. Johanny also wanted to know if we're going to have Bonnie Yates back, that you miss Bonnie. And I believe that we are. You know, Bonnie is, I can't wait until this happens to you and I, but please not soon to me. But Bonnie became a grandparent and lost her mind and fell so deeply in love that it's very hard to pry her away from that child. And that's a good thing
for her.
But we hope to have her back soon when the love gets tamed down a little bit. Right now, she's like a 16-year-old girl. She's gaga over that child, and I'm so happy for her.
I love it.
Absolutely amazing. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.